It's pretty easy to feel small in the world around you, yet despite this feeling, you still want to do what you can to make a difference. Misc, A Tiny Tale is a game about just that. Buddy and Bag Boy are your appropriately named protagonists on this adventure. After a mysterious explosion causes cogs and trash to rain from the sky, the two set off on an adventure to clean up various locales and uncover the source of the explosion. Taking on the role of Buddy, you're a tiny robot looking to make a big difference. You'll meet a lot of other fun robotic characters along the way, and you'll want to make a difference in their lives as well as you clean up the world around you. Misc, A Tiny Tale plays like you'd expect your typical 3D platformer to play. Unshy about its GameCube-era influence, the game attempts to capture that nostalgia. You've got a decently sized area available to explore, and you can run and jump around it to your heart's content. It goes without saying, but this game is very largely influenced by Chibi Robo, and rightfully so. It's got all the charm. Each level took a comfortable amount of time for me to 100% complete on my first playthrough, and that means completing all of the quests and cleaning up all of the mess. One of the first things that stuck out to me when playing is that Buddy feels a bit floaty to control, but it's easy to get accustomed to and eventually learn how all the levels are built around this. Occasionally the platforming didn't feel too precise, but I'd often have to rely on carefully moving the camera and the shadow that rendered below me in order to figure out where I was going to land. There were often times where I'd make use of a jump and a dive in midair in order to reach a further distance or have a more precise landing, which very much reminded me of the precision found through similar mechanics in Super Mario Odyssey. Diving and crouching are two of your main moves available, but it's not really often that these are required. As you play, you clean up trash that's been scattered as a result of the explosion. You're either picking up items or brushing up stains or goop off of the ground. It's your job to keep the planet clean. For all the goop and trash you clean up, you earn more nuts, which serve as the currency throughout the adventure. Currency is most often used to purchase items required to complete quests, and as long as you're recycling consistently and collecting all of the nuts you see, you should have no problem having enough money. It's funny, this message of recycling can be applied to real life too. Golden cogs are the main collectible you want to find in each level, most levels typically requiring 8 of them to advance, but there are 10 to find. You can find the golden cogs scattered around each area, or you can earn them by completing small side quests for the various NPCs you meet along the way. Every NPC really stands out as their own character, and they're usually accompanied by some sort of quip. It's all super easy to keep track of in the convenient journal found through the pause menu. The completionist in me would often triple check to make sure I was following every objective. Areas can feel pretty big but are ultimately pretty simple to fully explore. Going for a full 100%, I often found myself doing a lot of backtracking to make sure I picked up all the trash, which meant I ended up doing a lot of laps around each level, no matter how efficient I tried to be on my first pass through. And if this is your goal, you're going to be faced with a lot of backtracking. It didn't hinder my enjoyment all that much, but it certainly slowed down the experience more often than one might like. For completing each area 100%, you unlock some concept art, usually based on the respected level. As I've grown older, I tend to steer away from completing every level to 100% on my first playthrough, but Misc makes it simple enough to feel entirely attainable without feeling like too much of a chore, which is ironic because this is a game about cleaning up. As you pick up the trash, there's a meter that shows how much difference you're making in the world. While I tried to make the biggest difference possible, I really couldn't tell what effect this has on the game itself. If you can't find the trash, you have the option to ask for hints from the Recyclotron, and it'll reveal where the trash is. However, this does result in you being unable to earn any difference made from the trash collected in the area. And because the game considers this cheating, and I'm not a cheater, I'm proud to say I earned the 100% completion fair and square. Again, even if circling the same area over and over again felt a little tedious. Each level also has a bonus sub-area for you to complete in the form of Gus's challenges. You're given a platforming challenge to overcome, and it must be done in one go. If you fall off during an attempt, it's back to the start for you. And just looking at some of the stages, I can already hear the music from Super Mario Sunshine here. That's clearly where the inspiration comes from. I never found these to be particularly difficult, and I usually succeeded on my first attempt, not to brag. But they offered a nice change of pace from the collecting found above ground. These sub-area levels gradually increase in difficulty throughout the game, and culminated in a final challenge which admittedly took me quite a few attempts. These levels were some of my favorite parts of the game, and while I want to say I wish there were more, looking at the overall scale of the game, I think there's just the right amount. Playing on Nintendo Switch 2, Misc, A Tiny Tale actually looks pretty great. The visual style and largely outdoor setting of the levels often reminded me of Pikmin games, which was another inspiration for the game, again calling back to the early GameCube days. It doesn't have an exact match in level of quality or realism per se, but it gets the job done well enough that you really feel like this could be happening in real life. It's a little tough at times to discern what's trash that needs to be picked up and what's part of the environment, but thankfully if you look at it for just a second, anything that should be picked up will glow subtly. It's a nice accessibility feature that I really appreciate. There are also beautifully pre-rendered cutscenes sprinkled throughout the adventure, and they really help bring this world and the characters to life. The music is simple enough too, and I'd love to point out that one of the biggest surprises for me is that Misc includes vocal tracks.
It's a great day for an adventure. You and me, why don't we go out and play in the garden, grass and flowers, where we're free to be in our own way.
It really helps you feel the emotions that these characters are feeling, and I grew emotionally attached to these little robot protagonists, wanting to do whatever I can to help them out. Misc, A Tiny Tale is a bite-sized adventure with a heartfelt story that caught me by surprise. Cleaning up trash through collecting, brushing, or solving quirky side quests is surprisingly rewarding, both in-game and metaphorically. Any shortcomings are usually made up for with its overall charm. At its core, Misc is a game about making a difference, no matter how small. Whether you're in it for the platforming, the story, or the simple joy of cleaning up the world, it's a great new choice for anyone looking to enjoy a delightful, feel-good adventure. If you're looking for a 3D platformer that'll give you a warm sense of nostalgia, this is one adventure you won't want to miss.